Sarah Potenza hanging out with Roots Radio at Luck Reunion.
Haha.
This is cool. Oh, awesome.
It's our little toy.
That's how you know, too, like what's going on, right?
Yeah, I need to write my name on there.
Yeah,
so I
keeping
know who
everything
I am,
separate.
the way it's been.
Wow.
But anyway, yeah, John Walker here, Luck Reunion, hanging out with my friend, Sarah Potenza. So good to see you.
It's so good to lay eyes on you, man.
Yeah.
It's been a minute.
It's like a family reunion here.
It actually is a reunion.
I remember, I tell people this all the time, when you and Ian walked in as emerging artists at the Loveless Barn on Music City Roots, just the two of you, and you had me crying at sound check.
Oh
What
my
year
God.
was that?
That was 2014. 13?
You sang,
14.
You sang, when's it going to be my turn?
I did.
And I was weeping because I got it then, and I get it now, and I guess it's your turn.
It's my turn. It's here.
Way to go. It's been a whirlwind.
Thank you.
So much so that I'm like, hey, wait a minute, what? I've got to get a press release to find out
I can't even know. You did it. Oh my God, I can't believe it.
I caught up and I downloaded it and I listened last night and so proud of you.
Oh my God, thank you so much.
You're really letting it fly.
It's
and it
really
felt like it was you, unfiltered. Just doing what you do.
Unfiltered Sarah Potenza, unedited.
No, and I really felt it.
Don't worry though, we have radio clean edits. I'll send them to you.
Half of the tracks, a full 50% of the tracks, did not say explicit.
The full 50% are not explicit, but I do have 100% of the tracks, a non-explicit edit of them for the radio.
That's good.
Yeah.
And you know what? But those couple of words that we can't say on radio, they're appropriate. They're not.
No, they're not for
gratuitous.
like lack of a better vocabulary. It's just that sometimes I felt like in the color of the music and in the identity of the music as an East Coast Italian girl, there's kind of like a Jersey Shore like blue meets like blues. So it's like this pop sugar blues thing, and that street and that edge and that kind of attitude is a part of it, and that vernacular kind of adds to the character of it in a non-gratuitous way. So it's not just like left and right for no reason. It's really part of it's part of the story, and it's part of my voice as a person.
Yes.
So it really like was a good thing on the album because I felt like it made it more honest.
It felt really honest, and knowing you and knowing Ian, I really understood some of those songs on the more personal level.
Thank you so much.
It's awesome.
Earthquake, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So just talk about that process a little bit. You were it felt like unfiltered, you were kind of running the show here.
Totally. Yeah.
As it should be, you're an artist.
I think that for those of you who don't know my story, which is probably 99% of you out there listening, I'm married to Ian Crossman, who also plays baritone guitar, and we have always been writing songs together. We met when we were like in the 8th grade, and we always worked together as artists. But I think that compromise in a marriage is a really great thing, but compromise in art is not a great thing.
It's the mother of mediocrity.
Yeah, and so so for me, Ian's very subtle, and his influences are more like Nels Klein and Bill Frisell and Wilco and Father John Misty and more like this more like Elliott Smith like kind of thing, and mine are like diva everything. Like I'm like, give me Bette Midler singing, "Stay with me, baby." Give me Diana Ross. Give me Whitney Houston. Give me
I heard Aretha in that album.
Aretha, give me Aretha. I Aretha Mary Gauthier is worthy, hard. Mary Gauthier, I'm sure you all know who she is. She was just nominated for a Grammy for her amazing album, Rifles and Rosary Beads.
Rightfully so.
And I got to dress her for the Grammys. I was like, Mary, listen, girl, we need to give you an ascot. That is a thinking man's bolo tie. We got to change this a little bit, change it up. Anyway, I took her to Any Old Iron, where everybody gets those sequin thing. I got her this beautiful black sequin jacket, this Johnny Cash jacket, but it had a little pizzazz to it, and she loved it.
So that's kind of like paying it forward, because when you were kind of new in town, Elizabeth Cook kind of took you shopping and said, hey, try these glasses on, and it became a thing. Yeah,
I love doing fashion. I feel like I see things in others that they don't see, and I want to just encourage them to see those things. And I feel like a lot of times it's when I see it in people, it's the people who don't think about fashion because they don't know what to do, and they're just kind of like, I don't know.
And you're able to,
Yeah,
and I think we all are able to see beauty that people don't always see in themselves.
Yeah, I see.
and
Yeah,
bring it
because you
out.
don't see that in yourself. You're so close to yourself.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry, we're getting so off topic. But
There
there's
is
no topic.
You know,
But
what I wanted to touch on is you know, the
that
thing
was
we've
my
been-
album. I kicked everybody out. I actually, for this record, I sought out a female producer. Her name is Jordan Brooke Hamlin. She's incredible. She has a studio in Nashville called Moxie, and it's an unbelievable studio. And I really wanted to work with a female producer because I felt that my ideas and thoughts were lost in translation, and they were also lost in this. Not only lost in translation, because sometimes, like as a singer, I might not know, like, oh, well, this is the drum sound I'm looking for. I know the drum sound, but I don't know how to describe it. And when you go to like a guy producer and you say, hey, like, I really want the drums to be like Lauryn Hill drums, he's gonna get you that exact sound. He's gonna get those exact drums set up in a room with the right mics. Everything's gonna be, it's almost like a very physical interpretation of that. But a female producer is going to get you the drum sound and the drummer that makes you feel the way you feel when you listen to the Lauryn Hill album. It's such a different way that we see the world.
Not so literal. It's more visceral.
It's much more visceral, and so I was really in search of a female producer for those reasons, and also because I've always felt like I was edged out of decisions based on my like perceived lack of musical knowledge.
In other words, you didn't want no mansplaining.
I didn't want any mansplaining. I didn't want to say it, John. You said it, but I want to say, look, I just was like, look, like I know what I want. This is from my perspective, and I don't need anybody to tell me that I don't know. You know, because so many times in the studio, a dude will be like, oh, yeah, you're saying that you want this like Mariah Carey sound and you don't want to use a tape machine, but she did use a tape machine and you just don't really know what you're talking about. When it's like, I'm not even saying the sound. I'm saying like, I want a producer, the vibe, and I want a producer to emotionally protect me from other people's input, making me feel doubt or shame, and my own input that way. So I really needed a cheerleader and a person who emotionally understood that every day showing up was not just about the physical, but it was about the spiritual, and it was about protecting me, because I have a fragile sense of what these songs will be, and I wanted somebody who was like really gonna nurture that, and Jordan was that person.
Well, hats off to her, because the album, whatever she did, came out like you.
Yes, it's so me.
I was laying there last night, just wanting to hear it before we talked, and you know, I just can't wait to listen to it again. I was listening like old school on my iPhone, sans any speakers or anything, which always reminds me of the way I used to listen to my little transistor radio when I was a kid. And then I'm going to take the next journey on the good speakers.
Yeah,
because it sounded like
it's got a lot
just
going on.
Wonderful, yeah.
We had a lot of really rad women in the studio. Vanessa McGowan on bass and Megan Coleman on the drums, and it was just a really cool environment. One of my best friends from The Voice, her name is Tanya Boyd Cannon. She flew up from New Orleans and did all the background vocals on the album, which was like wicked cool. I wanted somebody. I love Nashville, but the Nashville sound, as far as background vocals, it's a very like studio musician sound. It's very predictable, and it's perfect. It's executed technically perfect, but I didn't care about technically perfect as much as I cared about personality and character. And so my friend Tanya, being from New Orleans, she's a jazz and blues musician. She plays organ in her church every Sunday. That's her job. She teaches vocal harmonies and vocals. She teaches in schools. She teaches in prisons. I mean, she is a boss. She's awesome. And she came up, and what she added to the music was what I wanted. Like when you listen to that Lauryn Hill Miseducation album, and the background vocals are like another character. They're not background vocals to pad the vocals. They're there to like do like calls and responses and give and takes, and these little licks and melodies that come in that she wrote.
She was riffing with you.
She was riffing with me, exactly, John.
The cut toward the end of the album.
Yeah.
Where she was taking the
high bar. There ain't nobody Really?
Yeah, and I'm like,
She wrote all that.
Yeah, and that is very much in the tradition of the black church where the
Oh,
choir
yeah.
is riffing and
Yeah, yeah.
and it's beautiful and it's
Oh.
perfect, but it's perfect in its imperfection.
Yeah,
Not even imperfection, but just spontaneity.
it's spiritually,
yeah.
but yeah, it's a spiritual thing. It's not a notes on a page thing. I mean, she would just close her eyes and stand there and listen and figure out where she wanted to put stuff, and that was exactly what my hope was.
Beautiful.
And we've been touring all over. We're performing together on the Melissa Etheridge cruise next couple weeks.
Wow.
Yeah.
Woo.
So this is really it's really my turn. It's really exciting. I love performing with Tanya, and I love performing with a full band. It's been really, really fun. I did have to kick Ian out of the studio because Jordan was like, hey, you know, these are your songs and I really want to protect you. And I want to ask you, like, would it be cool if we just have Ian come in and do the guitar later and not be a part of the pre-production or part of the production of these songs in the beginning of it. So that's what we did, and Ian was amazing about that. He stayed home and made sure that like our bills got paid and our house was like cleaned and I had like food to eat and I didn't like lose my mind, and you know, so that was amazing. And then to take it a step further, when it came time to put guitar on the album, when Ian came in, there was this really big change in terms of dynamic where I had these studio musicians come in and they were like doing whatever I told them to do in a way where I'd be like, yeah, and then it's like, this is gonna be bright and it's sunshine and you're walking down the street and you're feeling this and then when Ian came in, our initial theory was like, let's get him in there with Jordan because she's a guitar player and let them powwow this out and see what happens. And that happened, but I wasn't satisfied with the results because every single thing on the album was something that I don't want to say even like had a say in, but it was like it was touched by my emotional guidance. And so when it came time for the guitar parts, it just stood out to me that they were so different because they weren't touched by my emotional guidance in like where this song is at and where it's going. And I didn't like that as much as I thought, well, it might be a cool thing to say, hey, we got, you know, Nels Klein from Wilco coming in to just lay some shit on top. Ooh, some stuff. Oh no, you'll have to bleep it.
That's okay.
Can you bleep it later? Are we live?
Bleep it.
Are we live?
No, we're not live.
Okay, make sure you bleep it.
We'll bleep
you gotta
the
mark
shit.
that down.
We will
that
bleep
when we
the
did
shit.
it, mark down. Yeah, please. Oops.
We'll let it fly on
I'm
the
trying
internet.
so hard.
No, that's okay. You did good.
I'm being a good girl.
Yeah.
It didn't have a cohesiveness to it that I wanted, and I had a vision. And so I started to kind of guide Ian with that vision, and it really took a minute for me to kind of say, hey, listen, I know that this is your moment to have like your artistic input on the album. And this is an incredibly, incredibly huge ask. But I need to take that away from you, and I need you to use your talents to fulfill my vision.
Which is what great studio musicians do.
And that's what I said. And I said, that's what I need. I know you're used to being equal with me when it comes to creative input on this. But for this album, this is coming from my point of view, I need you to be a studio musician. And Ian was like, whatever you need, babe, I got you.
That's a strong man.
Strong. And that was, I mean, I felt like that was, when you're married for this long, and I've been married for almost 11 years, your marriage goes through cycles, and there was like a moments of when it deepens, you know, and that was just a really incredible moment for us as a couple, where I just felt that sacrifice on his end for something that I really needed was it was just an incredible gift for him to be able to do that, and it just made me love him even more than like I already do, which I don't know how that's possible, you know. So it was really incredible, and that's how the album kind of got made, and what's behind that track, Earthquake.
Yes, and it's beautiful because you called him your hero.
Yeah.
And it really touched me because I got it. I understand that dynamic, and the first time I listened to the song, which is very personal, I know the backstory, and I know Ian as a man, and he's a very forward-thinking, progressive man.
Yeah, he is.
We're just in an era right now where all of us men have to put our egos aside and allow this this season to happen because it's a beautiful thing. I was thinking when you were talking earlier, when I was a kid coming up, and there would be female musicians, you would kind of be, and I have to admit, condescending, like, oh yeah, it's a chick guitar player, right? Now there are female instrumentalists who I wouldn't even tell them that I play. They're so good.
Yeah.
Because it's really just, it's different, not only in musicianship, but gender roles are changing in production, in everything, and it's a beautiful thing.
It's a beautiful, beautiful thing, and it's a really special time
It is.
to be a woman, too. It's really special. It's really, I never thought, like, all of a sudden at a point in my life that there would be this, like, women's movement. I remember seeing, like, my parents' era and my mom, like, would talk about going through all that and how, like, her mom and her older sister are very, like...
We were too young to understand.
Yeah, like, we didn't... Yeah, and for me, like, that, to be able to be a part of this right now at 38 years old, it's like...
I'm rocking.
I know, I saw you rocking the Ruth Bader Ginsburg
The movie
shirt.
made
I
me
love
cry
it.
twice.
Me too. Oh, it was incredible. It's really a beautiful thing because
It was just time.
I think that the strongest men in our lives, they empathize and they understand, but they can never truly understand, and they're totally willing to admit it. It's a feeling, that every even like in the music world, like growing up and being what is perceived as a diva, as a singer who's just a singer, it's kind of perceived like, well, you don't know what you're talking about, and it takes all these guys behind you to make you sound good, and they know more about music than you do, but you get all the glory, and that's kind of an attitude that I've come across, and I've come across it from people that are close to me, and it's something that has been changing, and to be a part of that change and experience that, and for people to really feel the full power of what women are capable of when you stop patronizing us and underestimating us. And it's not that different. Oh, there's good guys and there's bad guys and some guys. It's just a prevalent thing that, like, in everyone's subconscious. Like, I literally do it myself, John. Like, when I went to hire Jordan as a producer, and I'm so ashamed to admit it, but this is true. I thought, if I hire a female producer, is it going to be more difficult in terms of, like, will she be able to not only produce but engineer, because this is the budget that I have? And I almost had to, like, stop myself and sit down with myself and be like, wow, that's such a weird, like, prohibitive way of hiring someone or thinking.
Right. But we're all peeling away.
We're all peeling away and
subconscious
unpacking
sexist
these
thoughts,
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, found that one.
Yeah, it's not like
It's
even
not
on
conscious.
purpose. It's just
Yeah.
subconscious.
No.
It's something that it's just there.
No, it's cool to hear you say that, because I think that's true of anything that we're dealing with in society. It's
Yeah,
like,
women
we
think
all
the same way. We
realize-
can act like we don't, and we can say, well, there's these guys. Oh, well, guys think that about us. Like, we all think that. Like, women, or there wouldn't always be, like, a dude president if we weren't like, well, I don't know if a woman's going to be able to take care of me. I kind of need, like, a husband or a dad for a president. Like, we all have a subconscious, our own subconscious prejudices and our own subconscious things, that we need to unpack. And I don't think we should be so quick to judge other people for their prejudices. We should all kind of try to work that out, because it doesn't do anybody any good.
Yeah,
to
we just
shame
help
them.
each other.
Yeah, which is good. Shame's get that out of here. I don't like it. It's got to go.
Well, so what's coming up musically? What's the next thing in Music City? For all the folks back there.
Oh wow. Gosh, I have to get something on the books. I'm waiting for Music City Roots to make a comeback so we can get on that.
We are building the barn.
I
of
heard.
roots,
Woo!
It's in your hood too. So
I'm excited.
yeah, it's out there where all the artists.
It's
are,
in Madison now, right?
Yeah.
I live in Antioch now. Don't tell anybody. But
Wow.
but because it's cheap.
Yeah,
It's really
East
cheap.
Nashville isn't cheap anymore.
Yeah, it's so cheap in Antioch. And then there'll be like a shooting or something, and everyone's like, oh, it's super trashy, don't go there. And I'm like, keep my rent low. I know, it's so wrong. That's so wrong. But there's like a lot going on out there. It's pretty crazy. But I've lived in Chicago for 10 years.
That's right.
You're from Detroit. Like, I'm cool. I'm like, what are you talking
Not worried
about? There's
about it.
nothing.
Shoot me.
But yeah, I'm excited about Music City Roots. gonna be happening again because that would be an amazing thing. I'm not sure. We just did a full band thing.
I think we've got a little thing we want to talk to you about
Oh,
after we
okay.
cut the mic.
Okay. I love it.
Because it's not announced yet, but it's so good to see you.
It's so good to see you, man. Everybody out there.
Long lost sister.
My new record, Road to Rome. You can get it on sarahpotenza.net. Don't go on .com, or go on the .com if you want, but they sell lotions. It's in another language. I don't know what those lotions do, but sarahpotenza.net. We got your CDs, your T-shirts, all that. I'm just, go online, stream my album. I want you to hear the music, so please enjoy it. And my greatest hope for this album is that it reaches women the way that somebody like Ani DeFranco reached me, like when I was in high school, and really empowers you to think differently about yourself. So hope you all enjoy it.
I know I did. John Walker for Roots Radio and Music City Roots with Sarah Potenza at Luck Reunion. Good times.
Thank you so much.
Love you.
Yes. So thank you so much, man.
We need a pick.
Oh, we do. We need a pick.